We are here at Riverside Archers in Riverside, California. Travis is behind the camera today. I'm gonna walk you guys through a new arrow and bow setup, which I need to make a new sight tape for on my black gold movable sight. So first thing I'm gonna do is sight in at 20 yards, make sure my up and down, left and right is all good there. Then I'm gonna move out to 70 yards and I'm gonna mark the spot on my current sight tape from my old setup, that is, where 70 yards is hitting. And then I'm gonna go and compare that to some sight tapes in my packet that shipped with my black gold sight and see which one of them matches up perfectly, install that new sight tape, and then I should be ready to go. So follow along for the ride, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like the video, that always helps the algorithm. Let's get started. 20 yards, let's see where we're hitting. Once again, the whole point of setting your 20 yard first is if you don't get this set first, then your sight's not going to be in the right position to put your tape. All right, so that was the first shot. I'm going to do two more. Ooh, that arrow flew a little weird. I think we're pretty good. Let's go check them out. Okay, so we're a little bit left. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust a little bit left, and then we'll shoot another three, see where we end up. Let's get this second group of three going here with the first shot. Okay, shot number two. All right, let's go check those out. It is not cold out here, that is for sure. All right, so I got one a little high, one a little low, and one a little left. All right, so what I am gonna do is I am gonna click probably like 3 clicks on this black gold sight to the left. And then my up and down seems to be pretty good. One was high, one was low. That's just me being fresh at the range here. All right, so I'm gonna loosen my left and right adjustment here. There you go. And then I'm gonna turn it to the left because my arrows were hitting left. You always wanna follow your arrows. I did 3 clicks. Okay, we'll see if that gets me a little closer. And you wanna tighten that back up. All right, so here's the third group. I'm gonna send another 3 shots. Whoo, that one felt good. That should be right in the middle. All right, so there's 3 shots. Let's go check them. All right, this looks to be our best group yet. So we got 1 shot dead center. I believe that was my first shot. Second shot, we got a little bit to the right of that, but still in the center X. And then we got the third shot that was a little bit out of the center. I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's good for today. Now, keep in mind, you do wanna give yourself some time when you're sighting in like this to warm up and also make sure you're not too tired. But I'm feeling pretty good today for the sake of the video. We'll call that good and we'll move on. All right, so now we've moved on over to 60 yards. 60 yards is the most I can get at this range. I know I said 70 at the beginning. I apologize. Always shoot out to the furthest you can comfortably shoot out to and the range allows, or your area allows. So just to go over what we did already, we made sure that my left and right and my 20 tape was good. So as you can see, I have it all the way up at 20 on my tape, and we checked my right to left. We're good to go. So now we can move on. Now I have a little bit of a head start because I already have a tape on here from my old setup, right? But my old setup had a heavier arrow and this is a much lighter arrow. So I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna be dialing to start because of this lighter arrow, probably at the 52. I'm gonna take off about 8 yards. Because once again, this is a much faster flying arrow because it's lighter. The grain weight on this one was about 424 or so, I believe. And my old one was much, much heavier. So we'll see where we end up. And the whole point of this is to try to get my sight perfectly aligned 60 yards on this old tape. So we don't really care what this says on here. We're just gonna put it exactly where it's actually hitting in real life. Then we'll go match that up to the tapes that I have pre-made and it'll make all of it'll make sense once we do that. I'm gonna go ahead and send another one. We're gonna do that same group of 3. Oh, that one I definitely messed up that shot. That was all me. So let's go look at those 2, because the third one I messed up. I was looking at something that's behind Travis over here in the bushes. Well, you never know what you're gonna find out here at the range here in Southern California. We got ourselves a Western red diamondback rattlesnake here. So good thing we you know, weren't walking just with camera equipment and staring at our bows, because we would have walked right on this guy. But he was trying to cross the range, and now he's all coiled up and he's pissed off. So we'll just observe him for a minute. All right, so now that we're done with our rattlesnake friend, it looks like all my shots were low, and this is the one that I knew was gonna be bad, way down to the right. So this one I knew felt good, this one felt good. So they're not too far off center, which is a good sign, but they are both low. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, instead of shooting 52, I think I'm gonna dial it up to 55. See where 55 gets me. Adjusting to my 55 mark on my tape. And now we will shoot second round at the 60-yard target. So let's take a third before we walk down there. Felt pretty good. Let's go check out those 3 shots. So these look a little better as far as my elevation, up and down. They're both right, which that could be me. But these 2 are just a little high, and this one's about twice as low. So I was shooting at 55. I'm gonna bring it down to 54. Making the adjustment on the tape from 55 to 54. So I'm taking a yard off there. All right, now, name of the game is to get one good shot that I feel like broke well. And if that one is where I want it to be, then we're good for the sake of today. This is something that too, I mean, this isn't just one and you're done forever, right? So I can come back to this process whenever I feel like my bow might be off, or if I change arrows again or arrow weights, I'll have to go back and do this process over again. So I'm trying to get it good for today. All right, let's go check those. See where those 2 ended up. All right, so just as I thought, as I'm getting closer here, one of them is low, pretty drastically, which I knew. And then my other one is pretty much perfect on the up and down. So elevation is good on this one. That one I knew was low. So I'm gonna leave it there, call it good for today. And I'm gonna get my sight tape, and we can always come back to this whenever I feel like my bow might be a little off and start this process again. But for the sake of the video today, this is pretty much how easy it is to make a new tape. And we're gonna get to the final processes now. Next step is going to be taking my calipers here, measuring. Now you guys can measure this with anything you want, but calipers are a pretty foolproof way of doing it. I'm measuring this distance between my 20 mark at the top of my old sight tape to where my current mark is, right at 54 that I was just shooting at. All right, so now you're gonna take your pack of sight tapes that come with your slider. Doesn't matter what brand of slider sight you have, adjustable sight, they all come with some sort of sight tapes. So now I'm gonna measure to see what 20 to 60 matches up closest to this caliper. And it looks like it's gonna be the 288 feet per second tape on this black gold sight tape right there. That matches up pretty much perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that 288. So I'm gonna cut it out here, kind of compare the way I have my sight tape on there right now. It looks like I cut off the numbers on the right side and I just leave the numbers on the left side. Just want to make a nice straight cut, straight as you can get it. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take off my old tape, pointer indicator in the way. So there's my old sight tape. Set that aside for now, and I will peel off the new sight tape. I'm going to place my new sight tape in there. Make sure it goes and lines up with the indicator. Right there, looks to be good. Go ahead and dab it on there and hope that that sticks on there, which it should. And that is how you put on a new sight tape if you're changing bows or changing setups, or especially if you're changing the weight of your arrows. Now that we got the new sight tape installed, I'm gonna go ahead and just do a verification shot here at the 40-yard target. So I'm gonna dial down to 40. As long as I can make a good shot, which has been rare today, this should be right on at 40. So let's go ahead and give it a test shot. All right, let's go check that. You can do it real time, so you know I'm not messing with you. 40 yards here on the tape. So I just put this new tape on, obviously, and it's set at 40. Just shot at 40 yards. Let's see if it's close. Watch out for the snakes. And there you have it. I would say that that is pretty much the tape that I should be using, wouldn't you say? I'm happy with that. I don't think I could have had a better result. So you guys can go do this on your own. Once again, use whatever space you have. The farther you can shoot, then the more accurate your yardages at, you know, inside of that long yardage are going to be. So that's why it's important to shoot out as far as you can and use the space that you have. So thanks for coming along, checking out how to do this. Go buy a movable sight. They're awesome. They're not scary or hard or confusing once you kind of understand how they work. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.